Be prepared. The next 3 days will fundamentally change the course of your journey. Furthermore, if you are not sufficiently prepared, there will be repercussions. Is it a coincidence that I am sending you this message right now? No, it is not. It is one of the divine laws of the universe and heaven. Yes, the law of attraction. You feel extremely lucky that I am conveying this message to you, don't you? Before moving on to the message, please like the video so that this message can reach other people as well, dear soul. You must also receive and accept the message with love. If you write, "I have received and accepted it with love" in the comments and seal it with 666, you will maintain the balance of giving and receiving. Don't forget to stay tuned and subscribe for our other messages, says Archangel Michael. Now we can slowly move on to the message. The dates of August 6th, 7, and 8 cannot be evaluated neutrally in any way. These days are not just days that will pass by. These days are days that respond to your actions. At this moment, you are about to enter a spiritual mechanism corresponding to a live series. Your responses, the discussions you have, the decisions you put off, the inner voice you choose to ignore or finally obey are all being evaluated, regardless of whether or not you are aware of this fact. Energy is not the only thing here. There is just one opening in this route, which is a fork in the road. Either you are going to be hurled forward like a slingshot into what you were made for, or you are about to be sealed back into a cycle that you vowed you did not want to continue being a part of. It is no longer possible to find a middle ground. This is a very thin veil. It is a choice that is loud. You only have a total of 72 hours to succeed. There are no days set out for introspection. These days are the igniting days. These are the things that they are not telling you. August is a month in which you will not have the time to process. There is no way that you will have the time to sort it out. Prior to the total transformation of the terrain, this particular 3-day stretch serves as your single alignment checkpoint. Consider the days that are currently passing as a kind of spiritual breath. He was not tranquil, but rather compressed, like the silence that precedes the launch of a rocket. Everything picks up speed as soon as the August engine starts up. You won't have enough time to repair the cracks in the wall. After that, you either stabilize at this moment or you sprint in an asymmetrical manner later. The majority of people will be perplexed as to why they suddenly have the sensation that they are jogging uphill without shoes on. On the other hand, those individuals who come to an understanding of what is actually taking on in these 3 days would appear as though they were previously aware of what August has in store for them. Despite the fact that it appears to be a relief, something is actually a decoy. The date of July 28th is a setup. Specifically, not in a hazy symbolic sense, but rather in a literal sense, in the sense of a spiritual pressure point. Possibly, you will be given something that appears to be a source of consolation. It's possible that it's a text message from someone you said you were finished with. One possibility is that it is a sudden chance that appears to be at the ideal moment. One possible explanation is that it is a feeling of tranquility that comes over you so suddenly that it defies logic. However, the fact is as follows. There is a high probability that it is repeating if it appears to be instant resolution. A day like today is not about being easy. It's all about having good judgment. That being said, the most perilous trap won't be something that is immediately visible. It will be something that is analogous to what you have been requesting, and it will be just enough to convince you to agree without giving it much thought. There is a bait loop here. You can lose all you've been working so hard to build if you do something that makes you feel wonderful right now. It is conceivable that you may be confronted with a decision that appears small on the surface, but carries a tremendous amount of energetic weight. Furthermore, the question that you need to ask yourself is this one. If I hadn't already outgrown it, would such a thing even be happening to me? It would not be considered alignment if it did not. We're going backwards, putting on a fresh disguise. There is no award for the 6th of August. A filter is what it is. If you are able to pass it, you will proceed. If you give in to it, you will find yourself right back where you started, but you will believe that you have moved on. The true snare is hidden there. Your energy field may become quiet, heavy, or blank, but this does not indicate that you are experiencing an emotional collapse. This is known as the slingshot effect. The 6th of August does not arrive to rock the ground as it is. Eventually, it will be muted. It will not be through frenzy or high-frequency bursts that you will experience it. Rather, it will be through what appears to be an energetic void. The momentum that has been building up over the previous few days will appear to be dissipating. The sense of urgency will fade. It is possible that your mind will begin to wonder whether or not any of it was real. It's not exhaustion at all. There has been no collapse. However, it will feel exactly the same. This is the point at which people become frightened, because we have been conditioned to believe that quiet is synonymous with failure. This particular form of stillness, on the other hand, is a sacred compression. It's possible that your body will feel sluggish. If you feel a strange pressure behind your eyes or in your chest, get medical attention immediately. There is a buzzing going on inside of you, but you lack the motivation to respond to it in any way. That is not the same as depression. To collect the charge, that is the procedure. The length of time that the bowstring is pulled back before it is released. There is no sign of your body shutting down. A charge that is greater than anything your nervous system has ever been required to carry is being held by it. The effect of the slingshot is not to be taken literally. Not only is it physiological and emotional, but it is also profoundly spiritual. There is no need to worry. When you are stalled, the tension is at its highest. In addition, the ego becomes anxious while it is in this situation. To move, to correct, and to manage the story are all things that it desires. This stillness, however, is a preparation for speed, for propulsion, and for burst, and the soul is aware of this arrangement. You will be able to survive the shift that is going to take place if you are able to allow yourself to sit in silence without judging it as being incorrect. The 6th of August will determine whether or not you are able to deal with being in the middle. You are not where you were before, and you are not yet where you are headed. Liminal space is what it is. Initiates are left alone with their own inner echo in this area, when they are left alone. Indeed, there is a rationale behind why it is unsettling. The reason for this is that familiarity would bind you to the previous pace. There is no punishment in store for you. There is pressure being applied on you. And the pressure will either cause one of two things to happen. You will either be forced to collapse back into distraction, or you will be compressed into alignment that is so tight that the only thing left to do is break forward. Don't give it a label, then. You should not attempt to solve it. Do not fill the void with medication. Just wait for it to develop. No, the ignition is not running late. It's doing its thing. It is likely that some of you will feel the urge to express how you are feeling, but your instincts will tell you not to. Something will click inside of you at some point in the future, perhaps on the 6th, or perhaps it is already beginning to stir. An alteration, a realization, and an energy that you are unable to explain. It is possible that your initial impulse is to call someone and say, "I believe something is happening. I feel different. I do not know why." However, you will be prevented from doing so by something. In addition, it will not be fear. It won't be a matter of insecurity. In fact, there won't even be any confusion. Specifically, it will be your higher self pulling rank, together with precision and protection. The reason for this is that this moment, whatever it may be for you, is fragile. The anchoring process is not yet complete. On the other hand, your system wants it to be sealed until it does. Due to the fact that they are still in the process of developing, certain insights are not intended to be revealed right away. This is not an example of suppression. It is a form of encryption. The fact that you are keeping silent about what is developing inside of you does not mean that you are hiding from the outside world. By doing so, you are maintaining the signal strength. By doing this, you are allowing the code to write itself without any interference. Consider the situation. When we give something a name, we immediately restrict its scope. We wrap terms around it that don't always fit within the context. In addition, when you talk too soon, you could inadvertently water it down in order to better understand what you are saying to another person. However, this change is not for someone else to benefit from. You should have it. Your quiet does not indicate fear. It is a form of spiritual encryption. Leave it to cook. Give it some time to work its way through your system without explaining it. You should allow it to be weird, unexplainable, and perplexing even to yourself. Mainly due to the fact that some of the most profound truths are revealed in quiet, and to maintain their integrity, silence is necessary. Now is not the time to indulge in excessive sharing. The spark needs to be protected at this time. It is possible that you will misrepresent it if you speak too soon. If you wait just a little bit longer, you might actually emerge as the perfect candidate. You should anticipate being sold something that is completely harmless, but will stealthily cost you your clarity. Not every trap is immediately obvious. Some have edges that are rounded. Some people show up with a good mood. It is reasonable to anticipate that something will appear during the next 3 days that appears to be perfect at first glance. It could be that the reconnection is causing a sense of melancholy. It's possible that a job offer or proposal comes to you at the exact moment when you were feeling the most anxious about your future. It could be a straightforward favor, an opportunity to be of assistance, or a time that appears to be without consequence, but it actually has energetic hooks that you do not immediately recognize. This is not about having paranoid thoughts. Discrimination is the topic at hand here. These 3 days are characterized by a spiritual reaction. This indicates that the things that appear around you are not completely random. It is a real-time reflection of the different frequencies that you are experiencing. There are moments when life throws one last lifeline to the old you in order to test whether or not you will accept it. This happens when you are climbing the ladder of life. When it appears in a smooth, familiar, and precisely timed manner, you should hesitate before responding with a yes. On the basis of your previous alignment, it could be a comfort blanket that has been stitched. Be on the lookout for products or services that attempt to acquire your time, energy, or attention without first proving their worth. It might be a present, a discussion, or an apology that sounds beautiful, but something in your stomach twists just a little bit. It might also be a person who hasn't thought about you in months suddenly remembering you just because they were thinking about you. These occurrences are not a coincidence. These are enticements, tests of spiritual loyalty that are performed in a systematic manner. The generosity that you have shown is not what is being evaluated here. Clearly, it is your clarity. The fact that you might say yes out of habit, out of empathy, or out of guilt is what turns it into a potentially deadly situation. It is possible that you will find yourself tied once more to energy that is no longer appropriate if you do this. What appears to be a comfortable situation today might be a hindrance to your mobility tomorrow. Therefore, if something comes to you that seems weirdly convenient, resist the urge to act on it. Please take your time in accepting it. You shouldn't turn it down either. Just pay attention. If it is meant to be there, it will wait. In the event that it does not, it will wither when you take a break. You are not being asked to behave in a cruel manner. To be clean is a request that has been made of you. There are some energies that are not owing to your answer. There are certain invitations that are not blessings. And there are times when the answer that you never say is the one that is the most revered. It is possible that a certain name or face will appear at random. You have just been picked up by them. You will smell something, hear a phrase, or see a reference that strikes you as being too peculiar to be the result of random coincidence. When you reach that point, you will wonder why at this very moment. How come they? Due to the fact that they have just tuned into you. Neither twin flames nor karmic fantasy are relevant to this discussion. There is a lot of energy involved in this action. Under the surface of your field, there are cables, both ancient and new, that continue to maintain a hum. When you change positions, they react accordingly. Over the course of these 3 days, you are becoming more dominant on a vibrational level, brighter, and more acute. It will be experienced by everyone, even those who are unsure of the reason. There are specific frequencies that are reaching back to you as you broadcast. Sometimes they don't even recognize it consciously, but they will think of you. Sometimes they will even think of you. There will be dreams about you. Whenever they hear your voice, see your face, or hear your laugh, they will click on something at random. You, on the other hand, will experience it as a fleeting moment that disappears like a ping. You'll be able to tell that it's not nostalgia. When it is live, you will know it. Now, what are you going to do? Not a thing. It is not necessary for you to answer at this time. At this time, you are not being called back. You are now receiving a notification. In the same way that a ripple in the field serves as a reminder that you were previously connected. In addition, the relationship is persistent. It is not always the case that every energetic nudge is a call to action. There are some that are little more than echoes emptying the channel. You do not need to send them a text message. It is not necessary for you to discover meaning in the present moment. Take note of this. As the tether begins to light up, pay attention to how quickly it disappears if you do not attempt to catch it. The clearance includes this particular section. During the process of realignment, the previous lines of contact waver. It is not to ensnare you, but rather to examine your steadiness. Is it because you are upset that you are moving forward, or is it because you have genuinely emerged from the echo? One answer is all that is required to complete the change, and this time it is yours alone. I have rigged this window so that it will tempt you to return to the person you used to be. Something from the past will come knocking on your shoulder, just as you are beginning to gather momentum, and just as you have begun to draw ahead. This is going to be hurtful for some people since it will happen just when you are beginning to pull ahead. It could be a message, a phone call, or a coincidence that is so well timed that it provides the impression of being a sign. There is no problem with it. It is a test today. When energetic portals occur, it is not by chance that people resurface. Some aspect of your frequency is shifting, which is why they appear. A signal is transmitted as a result of this alteration. Those who get such signal interpret it as a farewell that they were not anticipating. For some people, it appears to be a chance to connect with one another again. But it is not intended for all of the people who remember you to continue to have access to you. There is no occasion for a reunion at this time. It's a time of relief and release. When you are feeling better, an old acquaintance, an ex-friend, or a member of your family will pop up. It is possible that even those who intend good and who have never done you any harm will show up now. However, the fact is as follows. It's possible for someone to be kind to you, yet they could still be bad for you in the future. Furthermore, in this particular window of opportunity, the most perilous temptations are not the ones that are blatantly harmful. The ones that are comfortable, familiar, and safe are the ones who are in danger. Nevertheless, you did not put in all of this effort solely for the purpose of adorning your outdated jail with fresh curtains. These 3 days are rigged when it comes to spirituality. Not in a cruel manner, but in a manner that clarifies the situation. You are going to be presented with opportunity to choose either your past or your path. It is possible to choose comfort or calling, to confront past scars that are disguised as nostalgia, or to continue walking alone. If you are surrounded by noise that no longer resonates, it is preferable to be aware of stillness. At this point, you are not being asked to turn them down. You are being expected to recall who you are in circumstances where they are not present. It is not necessary for you to argue. There is no need for you to elaborate. There is no time to make any repairs at this moment. Those that wish to remain will continue to align themselves. What is lost or removed? It is allowed. You will simply slow down what was already trying to arrive if you continue to keep trying to carry them. In some cases, it is not necessary to destroy bridges. All that is required of them is to be abandoned. The way in which you see things during these days reveals more about you than it does about the world. While you are looking out this window, pay notice to how the world around you does. It is not the real events that are taking place, but rather how your system determines them. Simply because this is the secret that no one will ever tell you. The sensations that you are experiencing are not standard ambient sensations. These are medical examinations of the spirit. The use of mirrors and real-time emotional readouts is currently being amplified to an extreme degree. Does it seem as though the world is a noisy place, as if everything is moving too quickly, as if it is too chaotic, and as if even ordinary things are overwhelming? This is not an example of the universe becoming noisy. Your body's own system is sending a flare in that direction. It seems like you have been avoiding silence. You've been avoiding something that wants to be felt, heard, and processed, but it's trying to get your attention. Since you have buried the static, the external world is now matching it. When you try to avoid your own thoughts, life becomes more of a competition for your attention. If it seems too silent, as if nothing is moving, as if it is dull or empty, as if time is crawling, then it is a sign that time is moving too slowly. This is not a state of stagnation. The term for this is spiritual inertia. You are being urged to move in a direction that you have been avoiding up to this point. It appears like you are waiting for a sign that has already arrived. This is not a state of silence. The problem is hesitancy. This is not because you are broken. Rather, it is because momentum is now a demand. The longer you wait, the more empty everything will feel. Amplifiers are being used for these 3 days. They will reverberate your frequency back to you in a form that is louder, deeper, and more intense than it was before. There is a need for alignment if you are feeling overwhelmed. The need for ignition is present if you are numb. Your current response to the world is not a punishment, but rather a signal to what you should do. Changing your disposition is not the purpose of this. It's not about trying to go after a more positive attitude. In the midst of the commotion or the calm, it is important to pay attention to what is attempting to communicate. Therefore, you shouldn't only try to endure the loudness or bemoan the silence. Make sure you know what it is attempting to show you. To find out what you've been avoiding, ask. Inquire about the location that you have been hesitant to go. It's not that the world is being overly dramatic. There are no problems with the atmosphere presently. After several months of trying to deceive yourself, you are finally coming to terms with yourself. The following step is determined by whether or not you pay attention to what was spoken. Over the course of these 3 days, silence will serve as the messenger of revelation. At this point, things start to get trickier. During the next few hours, particularly on the 7th of August, pressure will be applied to every aspect of you that is still looking for affirmation. In order to respond to the misunderstanding or criticism that is occurring around you, you will feel the need to explain yourself, to state why you pulled away, to defend why you are taking a different path, and to explain why you are selecting differently. At this particular moment, however, it is not about protecting your light. The goal is to make it more profound. On the 6th of August, it is not the appropriate time to voice your truth. At this point, it is important to keep it unaltered, unspoiled, and unadulterated. Right now, you are not here to be understood by another person. You are here to gain a deeper understanding of who you are than ever before. Also, the trap will have an opulent appearance. It's possible that someone will say something that is passive-aggressive. Your decisions could be called into question by someone. Someone may open a door just enough to cause you to think, perhaps I ought to say something. Perhaps this is the time to make it clear. However, it is not. This is not a time for noise. It is a time for clarity through contrast. And when it comes to clarity, confrontation is not always necessary. During these 3 days, power does not originate from the words you speak. Rather, it originates from the energy you withhold. When you feel the heat rise and choose not to react, when you feel the urge to explain and instead choose to breathe and observe, when you notice chaos around you and still do not chase control, these are all examples of situations in which having power does not come from the words you speak. To know that you are right, to feel the vision forming, and to still remain silent. Not forever, but for the time being. This stretch is not about being heard. It is about being ready. You will be unlocking something ancient. A part of you that knows the difference between sound and signal. This is one of the most difficult tests for those who have been chosen. Let silence be your ally. It's not emptiness. It's structure. It's weight. It's readiness. You can either align with destiny or argue with fate, but both have consequences. This isn't just another spiritual window, another end-of-month reset, or a pretty cluster of energetic days with symbolic meaning. We are talking about ripple effects that will reach all the way into 2026. Every yes, every no, and every silent decision you think no one sees is being recorded in your field, and it is all being used as material for the timeline you are either building or breaking. This is a launch point, and things that you do within it are going to have an impact that will be felt long after August. These are not just days, they are coordinates. The 6th, 7th, and 8th of August are mapped points in your personal cycle. Whatever you are carrying right now, whatever you are entertaining, whatever you are tolerating, amplifying, or rejecting, this is when it locks in. It is during this time that you will begin to notice that the major life situations that you are navigating at the time can be traced back to this exact window. These 3 days are not the finish line. Rather, they are the warm-up. They are the final calibration before August 8 ST, the closing seal. The job you took or did not take. The relationship you finally ended. The instinct you followed or ignored. The identity you stepped into or the one you abandoned to keep others comfortable. But here's the twist. These 3 days are not final. The moment where everything gets finalized, filed, and energetically shipped out to your future. Think of the 8 ST not as the end of the month, but as a spiritual send-off. And what you do leading up to it is what determines the direction of that momentum. The future isn't waiting, it's listening. This is a time where your actions speak louder than your intentions. Right now, you do not require a vision board or a manifestation journal. Instead, you require alignment between what you say you want and what you are actually doing. This is because the activities you engage in between the 28th and the 30th are not merely casual. They are energetic architecture, and the worst thing you can do during this window is to sleepwalk through it as if it were just another weekend. Because this stretch is deciding what echoes and what ends, regardless of whether you are ready or not. This is the moment to make clean cuts, to initiate what you have delayed, and to finally act as if your future is watching because it is. Do not underestimate how sensitive this window is. The universe is not an impartial entity right now. It is responsive. What are you still dragging into your tomorrow that has no business being there? Who are you still trying to prove yourself to? What are you tolerating because you think you have time to fix it later? You don't. This is not a trial run. This is not a dress rehearsal. So ask yourself honestly, what are something that you are still dragging into your tomorrow? The timelines are real and they're moving. This is the fork in the road. You either answer the calling or you inherit the consequences. And remember, the 31st closes the gate. These 3 days are the final test, the spiritual sorting, the last breath before the leap. So choose wisely because what gets carried through that door will grow. For those of you who are still watching, I would like to express my gratitude for your attention. If you found the content to be enjoyable and would like to see more, I would appreciate it if you would consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. Please feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments section below. Until we meet again, I hope you enjoy the content and subscribe for more insightful content.